So it seems like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise has been on a bit of a decline in recent years. But after taking a bit of a break, getting new directors on board, and having a surprisingly kind of promising marketing campaign, at least to me, Pirates of the Caribbean 5 has finally landed, 6 years after the last. So, let's talk about it.
I once knew a Spaniard named something in Spanish.
And just so you know, this review will be entirely non-spoilers, because there are really only one or two spoilery things that you can talk about in this film, and I really don't have a lot to say about those. So, let's not beat around the bush. Is Pirates 5 a triumphant potential end to this franchise, or just the next step of decreasing quality for this franchise? Well, it's a bit in the middle, probably more towards the lower end of that spectrum. Pirates 5 is nowhere near the first film, it's quite a bit better than the fourth, and I'd say it's just a little below the second and third. It has some terrible things in it, and it has some amazing things in it. Firstly, the cast. Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. Look, I don't think he can ever recapture the charm of that performance from the first film. This time around, there are some really good Jack Sparrow-ish moments, but there are also quite a few moments where I'm reminded of why I'm starting to get a little sick of this character. Still, again, I enjoyed him more in this than I did in the last one. Javier Bardem is actually really good as Salazar. The character doesn't have a ton to him, he's just a guy who doesn't like pirates who wants revenge. That's about it. But as far as villains go, these movies always do pretty well in terms of design and intimidation factor, and this is no exception. I always like Jeffrey Rush as Barbossa in these films. He just seems like he's having so much fun with them, so I really enjoyed him here. Brenton Thwaites as Henry Turner was the definition of fine. He's not terrible, he's likable enough, but nothing stood out about this performance to me. You could have replaced him with any number of kind of bland, generic, handsome guys, and nothing would have changed. Now, as far as Kaya Scodelario as Karina Smith, apologies for the butchering of that name. I usually don't like specifically saying really bad things about a certain actor, but I'm sorry. This girl is terrible in this film. The acting ranges from passable to laughably bad at some points. And not only that, but her character for most of the film was really unlikable too. The combination of those made me kind of wish the story would move along whenever it stopped for a scene with her. I always love Gibbs in these films, he's great here, the crew members are as good as they were before, and Orlando Bloom seemed kind of like he was phoning it in for when he was there, but admittedly, it was nice to see him after that character being gone from this franchise for so long. Other good things about this film, the action is pretty great and entertaining as you'd expect from this franchise at this point. Another franchise staple is that the music is of course truly phenomenal. The direction and cinematography, while I wouldn't say on the level of Gore Verbinski, is pretty fantastic, and it's a pretty great looking film. The visual effects for the most part are pretty amazing. There are a few green screen moments that aren't great, but most of this is stellar. There are also fun set pieces and costumes and all that are great. Also, we have to talk about Cgi D Aging. The best example yet is definitely Kurt Russell in Guardians 2, but this is pretty insane. When young Jack first starts talking, it's kind of jarring, but besides that, it's pretty damn good, and it really impressed me. There are also actually quite a few surprisingly funny moments. A lot of the jokes didn't really land for me, but I burst out laughing 2 or 3 times. And the emotional moments, some don't work really, but some are kind of nice. Again, no spoilers, but the only one that kind of did something for me was the very last scene of the film, where I was like, okay, that's kinda sweet. Now besides all that, this film has a lot of problems. The main problem with this film is definitely the plot. The plot is really bad. Not only is it very similar to the other films in a lot of ways, but the script also is really lazy, and or some parts of it were just cut out entirely. Because there are plot devices that show up in this film that are beyond contrived, or come out of nowhere, or straight up make no sense at all. There were a couple moments in here where I found myself asking, how? How does this happen now? What is going on? The movie also gets very repetitive at the start, because every character seems to give you the same exposition several times over. Take a shot in the first act of this film every time you hear something about the Trident of Poseidon being impossible to find, or this girl being a witch. Spoilers, you will die. The movie's also really predictable, like there was not a single surprise in this film for me, and the pacing is also really not that great. The movie will sometimes grind to a complete halt to do a joke that's more confusing and annoying than it is funny. One scene in particular involving a wedding, where I was wondering, what am I watching right now? What happened to the story of this film? In conclusion, Pirates 5 isn't something I think is worth running out to the cinema to see. If you're a big fan of this franchise, sure, you'll probably get a kick out of it. But otherwise, this is worth watching at home, when you can maybe look at your phone or do something else when it gets kind of uninteresting. Some great moments, but nothing really special. I'll give Pirates 5 a 6.3 out of 10. So those were my thoughts on the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean film. What did you think of it? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.